last minute.
40.
Alrighty then. Welcome everybody to the Data Review Committee, Wednesday, 5/17/23 in the town manager's office and on Zoom. We have a quorum and like my
I'll open this back up
sheet.
now. Here, go. Yeah.
Already, Richard Gotti,
Yeah.
Pat Bragdon,
Present on Zoom by phone.
Bob Higgins,
Present.
Gage Monterey. Here. Ollie Paul,
Right here. Thank you.
Sandy Sullivan.
Here.
I guess that's it. So we're all set, start, minutes of 4/19/23 have been sent to you, I believe.
I just sent them out about 45 minutes ago. I had to make one more correction. I also attached in that email that the video has still not been uploaded to YouTube. So I am not able to create the minutes for the last meeting, 5/3.
Okay, well, hopefully that'll be straightened out by the next time and we'll do all three sets then, rather than.
I haven't received a response from the manager at all
Yeah.
on what that video is.
Yeah, he's kind of detained. Somebody else must know how to move those over to YouTube.
That would be a question for the CID.
Yeah, we'll ask, we'll leave a message for that. Diana, check with Amber if she knows how to make the recordings from Zoom to YouTube. Because we haven't got our last meeting transferred yet.
Okay, right now?
No.
Okay.
Before next meeting,
Okay,
and then she can do both the last meeting and this meeting.
so that's putting the recordings to YouTube, that's what
Yeah.
you said, okay,
I appreciate that, thank you.
you're welcome. Academy.
I
Okay.
also sent a copy of 4/19's minutes to Diana.
Yeah.
So she should also have a copy of that on her email.
Well, that's fine, she can distribute them or whatever. No sense holding up for that right now. The next item on our agenda is the C6 chapter 201 membership election terms that we tabled. Whereas we have not had any survey information put out for that yet, we might as well leave that table.
Continue the table.
Any objections to that?
No.
Okay,
On,
then we start our review on,
Wait, you got a question, Louis?
where,
on that, how are we gonna make sure that that gets, who's actually gonna handle that?
well, Peter was the one that was going to jump on it until he's available. I don't know who, I mean, he obviously had a plan to do it and he can pass it on to somebody else.
Right, because I know it was mentioned at the council meeting that it was gonna be put out there as
Yeah.
well, so.
So until it gets out there, until we get a response, I don't, even if it's 3 or 4 meetings down the road, it's not gonna be critical that, we can wait on that item. Unless you have an objection to that, anybody?
No, I agree, we need to have the public's input on.
Leave it on the table until such time as we have input. Okay, that's good.
Are we going to have any input as to how that question is asked?
Well, that's what Peter was gonna handle, and I don't think we should be having any input. Just other than, do you want term limits? And then the discussion will have to be, then we can work with suggestion, I suppose.
Yeah.
And people who, in asking the question in the survey, I would ask, do you have a suggestion? And that way we'd have something to tabulate and see if there's a.
And that's what I
majority.
meant.
Yeah.
Are we going to tell them what has been discussed here, two terms and?
Yeah, 1 year off. That's something we can touch base with Peter. Any one of us can call him and talk to him about it before he gets it out there. Or whoever gets to handle it, whether it's Amber or Peter, or Peter's got his plate full right now.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure, there'll be no
Yes,
shortage
Matt.
of opinions either, you know.
Go ahead, Matt.
I agree that we should keep, if we're going to do a survey, and we do the text messaging thing that Peter had mentioned last time and posting it on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. I think keeping it short and sweet and to the point is going to get more of a response than if we leave it as an open-ended question.
Yeah, putting too much to it is not gonna help the cause of getting it done, you know. So, I mean, getting responses. If people have to think about doing this or doing that, you know, a yes or no would be nice.
But I want people to think,
Yeah,
We should,
you know, if you put it out there, do you want term limits? The immediate response is, why not?
yeah, that's right.
But if
That's right.
you have to stop and think, well, how is that gonna
Do
work?
you really?
Then you're gonna get a more,
so maybe it should be, do you want term limits? Yes, if yes, suggestions, and leave it open.
That would be the better way to go about it.
I agree.
Because we don't want to influence their thinking by giving them our suggestion. They may have something, a majority of people might say we want them off for the 3 years in between terms.
Dick's got his hand up.
Thank you all, I appreciate the help.
Yeah.
Yes, Richard?
The only thing that I guess, in looking at past histories, not a lot of people run for the council. So if you put start term limits, then you are putting yourself up to a point where you're saying there's nobody who wants to run. So you don't have any candidates.
Well,
Either that or you've got to put something in there that if nobody runs, then the incumbent of 2 years could run.
That wasn't exactly Sandy's point, but it goes to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
She, I think, if I'm paraphrasing here, but I think that she wants to make sure that we're not trying to bring in something that we don't really want,
Right.
you know?
And that's my concern is the fact that it's hard enough to get people to run. And it's great if we could get people to run, you know, because then I would agree 100% to the term limits, but I mean, it's hard.
I know it's tough because some years it's like
Nobody,
you're just
nobody.
squeezing the sponge trying to get a drop. And then other times it's like
Yeah.
so many people that you'd vote for 5 of them if you had a chance.
Right.
But I also think that a lot of people, when they realize that there is nobody else, or they know that someone is going to run and that the slot is gonna be filled, that there's no need for them to.
Yeah. It's a can of worms.
I mean, honestly, we
I
do
know.
need to get some of the younger generations in there as well. I mean, I know we got Matt, he's younger. and-
There's been tons of people recently that I have talked to and asked why they aren't running, and their response is, why would I run when there have been people on the council for 10 plus years that I know will beat me?
Yeah,
I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, if there are
I guess
people who are opposed to that, maybe they should start holding councilors' feet to the fire, you know? What's wrong with asking your councilor, would you commit to not running for 4 terms or whatever, you know, 3 terms or?
Well,
I mean,
and
if people feel active about it, then maybe that's a,
But we've already seen that at council meetings that we've asked people to come to the meetings and you come most of the time. And if you're not there in person, Sandra, you're there on Zoom.
Well,
Same
let's-
with some
let's-
of the others. So
let's rein this in. We're way ahead of ourselves on this question. Simply because we're building recommendations. And these recommendations are gonna get
chewed up.
they're gonna get, no matter what we come up with for a suggestion on this issue, there'll be a whole different, like probably, if this is part of it, I would say that would make the charter a revision because it's a major item and it would end up going to a referendum vote. And as such, there'll have to be an elected council to go through exactly what we're doing all over again, get public input and do exactly what we're doing by charter. Because we're not following the process of being elected people to do this. We're just trying to clean up the charter and or make suggestions to have the next step done legally. So, like I said, we're way ahead of ourselves worrying too much about this
Yeah.
or that. There'll be a whole other board reviewing what we're doing, or suggesting.
If, okay, I just want to make sure I understand what you just said. If it comes back that the people say, yes, we want term limits, and this council votes, yes, we want term limits, this committee, then does this committee write what is involved in this?
Yeah, we would write a recommendation, just like everything we're putting in here now, it's just a recommendation. This whole charter, when we're done with it, will be a recommendation of changes. Those recommendation of changes will be reviewed by legal. And if there's things in there not legal, they'll tell us about it and we'll have to fix it. And then the last thing legal is gonna tell us is which process we have to follow in order to get it adopted. And that's one of two things. That's either a revision or amendments. And amendments occur all the time. We do it through orders at the council level. We do an order that doesn't agree with the charter. It preempts it. I mean, it's basically changing the charter. Well, I don't think I don't believe we still have to be within the charter. But there are policies and things that we do that we want to bring this up to date. And
That's why you leave things relatively vague when
Yeah.
you're working on them, so
yeah, that's why we.
so that it doesn't tie the hands of future councils.
Exactly. And so anyway, legal will decide which method it has to go, amendment or revision. And if it's amendment, it's something that can be handled pretty much like a zoning change or something. There'll be the council having public meetings and then eventually having a vote on it. But if it's a revision, then it ends up having to have a whole new body like us elected people on it to do what we're doing now. And they would go through all what we said, and they may even add things or change things at that point. And then it would go to referendum for the voters of the town to vote on. So it's quite the, process. So we're basically just doing what we feel would be suggestions to change.
We're giving it the cursory review.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
We
How
are
much
not
later?
changing.
So it's a long process by the time it ever hits a charter change.
But no, I know that, adding a comma or changing a pronoun
Yeah.
is a whole lot different than changing from no term limits to term limits. And
That's why it may get kicked into a whole other review.
well, I contacted the MMA
Mhm.
just to ask a question, and they sent me back a whole list of stuff. And I'm thinking, this all has to be considered.
Oh, yeah, state law is what they're telling you.
Yeah,
They're giving you state law. And that's why we go through legal, so we don't have to know all of that. So legal will tell us.
You can do a search. on
That's why
the statutes.
That's why the back of our charter has all the legal references, things that we're in compliance with.
no, I just meant that things that, I wouldn't have thought of.
Oh, yeah.
We've got an election coming up to fill Steve's seat. Would that person would their first term be considered are they just taking over Steve's seat? Or would that be considered their first term? You have to write all of that in.
Yes, we have that done because it's
That's
happening
in the
right now.
charter.
And Steve's seat is being filled for the remainder of his term on this vote that's coming up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think
It's
what
not new.
Sandra's saying is, does that start that person's first term?
Is that considered that person's first term? Or,
No, it's.
Council term limit is 3 years.
Right. So,
Oh, you're talking regarding
Right,
term limits.
right.
yes, and this is the kind of stuff that they
Yeah,
sent back to
consider-
me.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Good point.
theoretically, that person would be a year and a half
Over.
Mhm.
if they ran 2 more terms, right, then they'd be a year and a
You
half
could take
over
the,
that.
you could take the view of saying.
And
not
it's
his
the
first-
current, it's the current council. Are they gonna be part of the term limits? Or does the term limit start at the next?
You can do it either way, if.
But it has to be put in there. That's what,
Right, once
Right.
I think like Louis said, we're jumping way ahead of the gun. I definitely agree that's a conversation we should have, but I think it's a little too soon till we know what the public wants.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Anyway.
the public might come back and say they don't want it, so then it's irrelevant in it.
And I will bet probably this response is gonna be people who will say they absolutely want it, but it'll be such a weak number that we're gonna go, don't know what it means, you know?
Yeah,
Get 20 people that say that.
and like I said, I
So
think,
that,
I think a lot of times people's reaction, my reaction used to be, term limit, sure, why not? Without
Yeah,
even,
without
without
thought,
ever thinking
without
about it. So.
Now, can I ask a question?
yes.
I had heard from the whole committee that, or let me rephrase that. When we had talked about this last meeting, I had mentioned looking at other towns that have potentially done this and seeing what they've done. I have not yet had a chance to look at other towns because I've been busy with work. Has anybody else had a chance to look to see if anybody else has done something similar?
The MMA told me that the census for 2020, there were 430 some odd towns and 32 cities. And of that, only a handful. They did not give me an actual number. They said a handful
So
Seven.
5 or less.
Yeah.
Term limits.
with term
Well, there's
limits.
such a can of worms when you.
There
start discussing
is,
what we're talking about.
you can get that information. I can't because I'm not a public official,
Oh,
but
so if a councilman requested, they would
Yeah.
give you the numbers.
you, do you have a login to the MMA?
No, I haven't used them.
Anyone who has a login to the MMA can get that information, but I don't.
I have a contact for
Yeah.
somebody at MMA, so I'm sure we can find it.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like 5 or less anyway. Or,
7.
7. All righty, let's drop that issue and
Okay,
we got plenty of time, plenty of meetings to go before we get there. Dealing with it.
I'm actually pulling into the parking lot right now, so if you give me just a minute, I'll set my laptop up and we can I'll pull up the changes.
All right, we'll
I gotta
restart.
unlock, I gotta open the door for you, cause she locked them, so I'll let you in.
We'll wait for 5 minutes. Oh, quite the show today, isn't it?
Hmm?
Quite the show.
okay.
It's life. Life's busy.
Yeah, it is.
I was drinking at camp and it was snowing while I was doing it.
I was grocery shopping and I'm checking through the checkout and I look out and it's like a blizzard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had sleet and brewer when I was at the solar site there.
Okay, we're coming up on section 205. Let's give ourselves a raise. Let's-
Actually,
Yeah,
I
that's-
don't think many people realize how much time, especially, I don't know about the school board. I watch their meetings, but I don't know. But I don't think most people realize how much time a counselor, how much time it
the Committee
takes.
work and everything else.
Between the committees.
You know, Bob, you could have warned me. The roads up north are terrible.
Well, I haven't been up that way.
There's
I've been over to Mount
there's
Scout.
construction every like
Yeah.
10 miles.
You're right. And I've heard some people talk about it.
Yeah, I hit it at Granite Street Bridge coming here.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
Gage is the only absent member.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Pretty tired.
I chuckled though when I, read your email. You ran into traffic coming down from Fort Kent.
A lot of construction.
Honey, I lived outside of Hartford for 30 years. And you ran into traffic coming out of
Well,
Fort Kent.
that's not traffic, that's just a nightmare.
It's
I'm
like a-
actually gonna be driving through there in 3 weeks, so I'm not excited.
Living near cities, or near.
I mean, if you're down around DC, I mean, if you don't hit the Beltway before 3 o'clock,
Get it.
it's 3 hours to get anywhere around Baltimore from DC.
I drive right
I
around.
wonder how these people that get caught in those lines ever get anything done.
You wouldn't
know,
believe the stuff you see
I
when
live
you're
in
driving by
Ralph.
them.
So
I mean, they're watching movies and everything. The drivers get them.
You say,
495.
"How did I do that
I
for
walked
30
under
years?"
495 from my apartment to get to where I work. So everywhere we went was on that, and that's just what that was like. And there'd be times you'd be riding along and stop for 45 minutes.
For no reason.
Well, there was an accident or something,
Oh,
but
you
by the
have-
time you got through it, there was no sign of where it was.
Every
Oh,
time
really?
we came to Maine, the Mass Pike, oh my God. And the only reason was the Mass Pike couldn't hold the amount of traffic.
Yeah. One time across the Kittery Bridge, from the time went across the very first crack onto the bridge, it was over an hour from there to the other side because of an accident. And trucks were around us and stuff, so you had your windows rolled up, you know?
And that was before it was 4 lanes. That was
Yeah.
back when it was 2.
You're not.
Share the screen, yeah. There we
There
go.
we go.
There's nobody on Zoom anyway, so I guess I don't need to have that up.
Yeah, typical, nobody wants to watch us, which is boring,
And it was put out. I mean,
one of the ones.
there was people that were sharing it.
And I'll show you guys all the new minutes that I have changed with your guys' recommendations.
Okay,
So the ones that we did make changes, I put it in there, changes were grammatical, all were grammatical, all were grammatical, all were grammatical. A lot of the ones we did last time were all grammatical.
what's on
changes.
that was reconstructions.
That was an actual, so I put the name of the subject line that we're doing, and then underneath it, I'll put what we did. So instructions for amending the code, we made 18 changes, all of them are grammatical. So that's what I put. And that's how it reads, pretty much.
Yeah, but you had one that said reconstruction, what was that about? Go down. Right. Reconsideration,
Referendum Reconstruction
reconsideration,
Limited,
yeah, reconsideration.
Reconsideration.
or reconsideration.
Referendum reconsideration.
I have no idea why that's there. I
Yeah,
bet that was a copy and paste here.
okay, so.
There was one that was different. Oh, just the table of contents and extending the meetings and tabling the vote that we did. Those were the
Yeah.
only big things that we talked about.
Right.
So if we want to just wait till next time, to approve them, that way everyone has a chance to
That's,
review
I
them.
think that's the thing to do, we'll do all three next time,
Okay.
we get caught up, so we're starting out on. Page C9, section C205, compensation. I'm still talking about counselors.
Oh, did Wally have any changes that you guys are aware of for that section?
Yeah, we had some.
Yeah,
deletions in there.
In fact, we had the first half of that, we had crossed out, I had lined through, and I think we were just talking, the councils shall receive $15 for each council meeting upon attendance not to exceed in the aggregate, on and on. And it ends $1,000 per year in full for his or her services. That was all lined
All
out.
right.
Yeah.
C9.
Yeah, I think we started out with the town council by order shall fix the salaries.
Yeah.
That's what we left.
And-
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
and
so
just,
this
and
was
had
all-
just that part.
Okay, so counselor shall receive $15.
Yeah, all that down to the sentence that starts out. The town council by order shall fix the salaries.
$20 for each.
I don't know, that's gonna go over with the public.
Why?
Council fixing their salaries.
Well, I mean, we haven't been paid $15 per council meeting.
I.
Well, that's a,
It's been $1,000, at least it's $1,000 stipend. Chair is $1,200. So. That's what it always was. Even though the charter said this,
I think the
Well,
last time it was changed
they
was
have-
what, 96?
yeah,
if it's set by order by the town council, then
So you're recommending a strike of this
From there,
entire section?
yeah.
Okay,
because the town council by order shall fix the salaries of,
officials elected by the town council,
oh, I see.
not
Not
the
the
Not
town council. Town council itself, that's first part is the town council. After that, the town council by order shall fix the salaries of officials elected by the town council. That's the difference.
But if you're setting your own salary through a public meeting, which you'd have to do through ordinance, you'd have public input on it.
Right, but it,
Or
that-
you'd have public outcry.
Well,
I
either
missed
way,
that.
you
Going
can't.
around,
it's
I
gotta
didn't
stay.
understand that when I did it. I agree with you on this.
Yeah, so we
That-
should
Again,
have,
getting back to, we are doing something for councils in 15 years from now or 20 years from now. We want to make sure that it's as clear and unambiguous and controlled.
so are we
As it
striking
can
that whole
be.
section that's like?
well, we can strike it and I think put in something that is more useful, like
Yeah.
it says for future. use.
Flexible, but
Maybe it could be set by a vote of the public
what was it you said, Dick?
during,
Well, a good
during
example would be like during budget workshops. Is budget time is it would be set in the budget process.
that could,
So set yearly?
well, the budget's reviewed yearly,
Right.
Yeah, it
And-
could be
and-
bring the
and-
same year after year, or it could get changed. So it could be determined by the budget process.
Correct. That way there, it is a part of the budgeting process.
And there's
And the public has
And the
input on
public
that.
has input
There's
on the
workshops
budget.
and then there's two
Right.
public meetings, so there's
Correct.
plenty of time for outcry.
Because if you just left it, right, exactly, Louis. And if you just left it blank, then you could raise your salary anytime you wanted.
Well, that would be nice.
So
So
I just think we need
Can I
to,
do that retroactively?
Wally said, gotta make it clear for future councils.
So how would we like to word that?
Councilors shall set the salary of elected officials yearly through the budget process.
No,
I would say.
not
the
counselors.
it should be two
Councilors.
paragraphs.
Right,
Yeah,
councilors shall set the council
Compensation.
compensation annually during budget workshops
or through the budget
through the
process.
budget process. It's no different than we give,
And it should be council will set
right,
by order.
we give the staff a
Yeah.
3% raise.
That
Then,
council will set,
So councilors shall set the council compensation. Councilors shall set the council compensation annually through the budget process.
the councilors compensation, because they might pay the chair
So
more.
So councilors,
So
Yeah.
councils and chair.
councilors shall set the councilors.
The council should
Council,
be the beginning
the
of that.
council.
The
and
council
chair
Will,
compensation.
I was just following what was, so,
yeah,
all right.
yeah, the council will set. The councilor's compensation annually through the budget process. That's pretty plain and simple.
Right.
Yeah. That way, like I say,
That way, it doesn't lock the charter.
and then it still allows for two different
The
wages,
council will set the budget of the so how do you want to word it?
not
with
the
chair?
budget, the compensation.
Compensation.
Compensation of the council during the budget.
So someone said something about a chairman. Do we want that worded in this
No,
or?
no,
And as part of the council.
That'd be part of that discussion in the budget process.
Yeah. 'cause
And that
there
would
are-
be part of the
there's
order made
7 councilors,
happen.
even though one is a chair, 7 councilors. If you chose to say, look, we're all
pay
gonna
Matt-
get paid the same.
We pay Matt more than we pay everybody else.
Right.
We just have to go through the workshop and they agree to that, we're all set.
So the council will set compensation of the council through the budget process annually.
Right.
Do you want any discussion related to the public or just that line, call it good?
Well, that's the budget process.
That's the budget process.
So
I'm just
discussion.
thinking of somebody going in and reading this and thinking, oh, they're just gonna set it themselves. I'm just asking if you guys
Well,
want something in there with
And
public,
and you are setting it yourself.
right?
Well,
That's fine.
you could say annually, comma, which is comprised of workshops and 2 public meetings. So
I'm just asking if you guys want
that
that.
Yeah,
clarifies
it
what you
should be.
just said, is what I'm saying.
Okay, so repeat that. I'm sorry, I'm typing it at the same time.
Hold on here.
Uh,
Through,
Annually through, which consists of budget workshops.
I'll go back and fix it. Of 2 budget
No,
workshops,
no, just budget workshops, because it can be more than 2,
right?
and public hearings.
and 2 public hearings.
That was
That's
it, 2
fixed.
public
That's fixed.
hearings.
And then through can come out. And consist should be plural.
I'm sorry. Which consists of budget workshops.
2 budget workshops.
Yep.
Of it, 2
Public hearings.
public hearings.
Right, I put that in there
That's
already.
in there.
Is that it? Nothing else?
Sounds good. Read it one time.
Okay, the council will set the compensation of the council through the budget process annually, which consists of budget workshops and 2 public hearings.
And that'll, for future councils, that'll make it feasible for them as well.
And right now, chair is getting more than the other counselors. So, traditionally, that will be brought up during the process.
So my question is the budget line that's set for, is it just council or is it, I'm sorry, I'm like
Budget line says
laughing.
council,
Yeah,
8,000
you-
bucks.
you're right, just put
And then it says chairman.
No,
No.
just, it puts $8,000 in one budget line, council.
Yeah.
budget,
So does it,
council
so
salary.
does it say further down the charter that the chairman gets more or does it wanna make it?
Yes, in this
In-
here, you
in the
can say, like, in this one, it was $800 for the
Yeah.
councilors and $1,000.
And now it's 1,000 and 1,200.
Right,
So
now
that's
it's
not
1,000
much
and
better.
1,200.
See?
So
So
it's a
that's why,
$200 increase. of-
That's where it needed to be
of
updated.
chair.
Yeah.
So more
we
responsibility.
want to be in compliance, so that we're suggesting a change that will be good for future councils.
Right, but it's not listed. What I'm saying is in this compensation section that we have just struck and edited,
Doesn't
it
say,
doesn't explicitly say the chairman gets more.
well, I don't think you should, if we don't want to.
Right, that's what I'm asking. Is
That's gonna be determined by the budget process.
Yeah.
okay, that was my ask. Is that supposed to be included in this or not?
That's an agreement, that's an agreement amongst the council having the discussion.
Yeah,
That's where they.
if they hire a chairman that they really don't like, this guy, he gets paid the rest, same as us.
Yeah, they get 500.
I'd get less, it's just paying less.
Okay, so there were other changes recommended.
In this section,
Yeah, there were
I don't have any.
his, her,
Yeah,
and by
those.
him.
The town council should be able to fix the salaries of the elected officials, including the salaries of the town manager, his or her. We want to change that.
Everything else was left.
there.
There's no his or her. Is everybody happy with this section now?
I'll reread it after.
There's nobody on Zoom, is there?
No, well, this Melanie Higgins is,
I don't see no. hand
Matter of
up.
fact, on that services as such and all of the services rendered, you can just cross out the by him
You just want to,
and it will just leave it at rendered.
Yeah, that
Strike
makes
it.
sense.
English teachers would be proud.
That's what I said like 2 meetings ago, my English teacher.
Got Miriam Fowler in here with a hammer.
Okay, so C205 compensation, the council will set the compensation of the council through the budget process annually, which consists of budget workshops, and 2 public hearings. The town council by order shall fix the salaries of officials elected by the town council, including the salaries of the town manager for their service as such for all other services rendered. Maximum salaries of the appointees of the town manager shall be fixed by the town council.
Which is done through the budget process.
All right, C206. The only thing I see changed in the emails that Wally sent me was councilmen.
Yeah, that's all I have here.
What's that?
Councilmen.
Oh.
Should just be counselors.
What, we talking about, C206?
Yep.
Effective January 85, the town council, school board shall meet in town council chamber at 7 p.m. How we do with that? Or did we do that the last time?
Said,
Oh, yeah,
said meeting
that's-
councilmen, so that it needs to be
Swearing in
elect.
time, yeah.
Try typing it in without.
counselor
That's what I was
dash
doing.
elect.
You just did it.
I know, I gotta change color.
That's the only 2 meetings we don't have on Thursdays.
School members elect shall be sworn to the faithful discharge of their duties by.
All
And
right,
it
we're all
should
set.
be counselors, not counselor. Because we always elect at least 2 members of the council every year, so that is.
There's something. The effective date. We would have to change, and the council meeting,
Why, that doesn't need to change, doesn't? Effective
Well,
January
only-
1st,
No,
1989.
if we don't change it, yeah, right.
No, we're not changing. When is
Do
the
we
first?
want to change the time?
Yeah.
That is steeped in tradition on that one. God.
That's why I said so.
Yeah.
Any other input on C206? Move on to C207. Council to judge qualification of its members.
207, I have no changes. So C207 would read, the council shall be the judge of the election and qualification of its members, and for such purpose shall have power to subpoena witnesses and require production of records, but the decision of the council in any such case shall be subject to review by the courts. I
Whoa.
think that's just legal jargon as it is.
Legal fees.
C208, I do have changes.
All right.
Recommended by the previous committee. Last, and it shall also provide a method for calling special meetings was highlighted. And then I'm assuming they were erased, and it would be regular meetings and shall meet regularly at least once a month. It shall also provide a method for calling special meetings. All meetings of the town council shall be open to the public in accordance with the revised statute of 1964, Title I, subsection 401, 406.
Do we want to check to make sure that title hasn't been updated? Because I mean, that's 1964.
I can look.
There might be an update to that title.
Now, this doesn't say main state title, so I'm assuming this is MRSA.
Yes, it is.
Let me look. Main title 401. The legislature finds and declares that public proceedings exist to aid in the conduct of people's business. Changed in 1975. Or changed 10 years after what was said. I don't know if that matters at all, but so it would be revised statutes of 1975, Title I, 401 to 406.
That's the latest one that's there.
It's the section history, PL 1975 change.
any comments before I leave this? Well, I say that, hold on, that's only 401, let's look at
Right.
402, 475, 1991, 2009, 2019.
This covers all aspects of the council operation.
Well, I'm talking about the
Yeah,
year that
yeah,
was
yes,
listed. Do I need to put the most recent
75.
date or is,
Well, maybe, or as amended. Cover future amendments.
Yeah, because this thing is, I mean, this changes this thing all the way up through.
yeah, in 2011,
Right.
1969, 2019 again, 2021, remote participation was that in 2021.
So why can't we just say revised statutes of Title I, subsection 401 through 406 and leave the date off?
Well, that's what I was thinking, because if there's gonna be continuous changes to it, then
Correct.
we wouldn't have to make any.
All you're doing is referring to the statutes and the title. And the,
However, it should say MRSA, that way it's,
If this is going to go
Yeah.
through a legal review,
They'll pick up
I
on.
would say all you have to do is flag it as, take a look at this, and then
right,
whoever's doing the legal review can change it to whatever's reasonable.
I'm gonna copy that, I'm gonna go back here.
just flag the date. And,
So we were gonna be deleting how far,
just 1964.
well, there's more changes than,
Right, but, okay,
it's regular meetings. Where's regular meetings? There it is. Hold up, that's my bad.
I think you're right about RSA though. You put middle and knock it off. Might as well be putting that in.
Yeah, because I mean, what revised statute are we referring to? We're referring to Massachusetts, Maine, the federal government, like what 401 section 6, or,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
10-5.
So what actually changed in your guys' old edits? So we're deleting C208. It shall also provide a method of calling for special meetings was changing to. It's the same. I'm confused as to what these changes were.
What do you?
I'm looking at the old changes that were sent, and everything bold is what's changed, correct? Because it's reading the same as
You're talking about back to the charter here?
no, I'm talking about the old committee recommending changes. I have them up on the screen of the old changes that the committee recommended.
Yeah.
is it once a month or twice every other week?
So you-
Or
Second and fourth Thursday of every month.
Right, so.
that needs to change as
that
well.
needs to change.
Okay, let's just-
Well, but you
At
say
least once a
at
month.
least once a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
the town council shall at its first meeting or soon after, thereafter as possible, establish by ordinance or resolution a regular place and time for holding its regular meetings and shall meet regularly at least once a month.
Yeah.
It shall also provide a method for calling special meetings. Was there a recommended change for that?
Well, I
You
just-
had it highlighted.
I know.
Yeah, I
The
don't,
warrant process, you have to do it every other week. Some of the employees get paid.
That's why we do it second and fourth.
Right,
Yeah, we give authority to the manager to deal with that.
So should we change that to regularly at least twice a month?
well, you're going to meet twice a month.
might as well have it in there.
Right, that's why I'm
No,
asking.
well, I'm saying, again, that's a flexibility thing.
Right.
Yeah,
Next time COVID comes along or whatever it is, maybe there's a month you have one meeting.
But we got
that
warrants.
can be adjusted during a meeting, say, you're saying that, we're, because of this situation, we are not going to have a meeting.
And it would have to be by
but then
Zoom.
you change, they're not going to follow the charter. And stuff.
So I wasn't here for the start of COVID as a counselor, but did they stop all meetings together or did you guys immediately transition to Zoom?
Transition to Zoom.
Immediately?
You've had to have
then I don't see an issue with putting in at least twice a month. If there is a future pandemic, then they're just gonna move immediately to Zoom.
I ran around like crazy trying to get everything going to do it electronically,
Managed to pull it off.
so.
I think it should read twice a month since we're already at that point and
Well, that's
people are
fine.
being paid by.
I was just recommending it for, as another flexibility issue. And I'll be doing that every time.
Yeah,
And proficiency and,
so anybody
but
else.
it doesn't much matter. I mean, you do it twice a month and even in hard times, you do it twice a month. So if you put it down that way,
Sometimes,
Has it always been twice a month that,
ever since I can remember,
you
Sandra,
do.
And it's always been this.
okay, so there's never been a time that it was. once.
Well, maybe way back when, but
you might have taken I'll use the example in December, that Christmas is falling on and you just say, look, we're just gonna have it on the first, and then if everybody will come in and sign the warrants, we won't have a meeting until January. That's the only time something like that would come into play. But,
So I guess we'll
but
leave it open.
the council approved not having the meeting at that first meeting in December.
so do
Because
we
of-
want to leave it once a month just in case that happens in the future then? No.
I think it'd be good to leave it with this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Or
because
the-
like in November.
Yeah.
December's
And
usually
the
good.
last has to be changed to least.
Fourth of July is another one. Throw it into a monkey wrench.
So your highlighted change that you were recommending was one again for it shall also provide a method for calling special meetings was supposed to be. This portion was highlighted. In your notes. to me.
Yeah, and I said, see my notes, I can't find my notes.
There's no notes on the email you sent me either.
I don't know why we did it. Yeah, I'll leave it in there.
MRSA. How is that worded legally properly? As
it's
it,
capital M period R period S period A.
right, so it's MRSA Title I subsection 4.
Yes.
Okay. Nothing before it, nothing after that.
No, I don't think so.
So if we wanted legal to note on the revised.
When we send it, and we're gonna go back over this one more time, correct? Before we decide to,
The date's the only thing, and like I said, my feeling is put the date off in there. If you identify main state, statutes, Title I, 401.
I agree, in accordance with MRSA
Right.
Title I, yeah,
If somebody, let's just say something changes in it.
again, like last year.
And Sandra, who's very astute at making sure that we follow the law, says, Louis, you didn't follow the rules set by this statute right here, because the statute had changed.
That way, if it changes again in the future, it doesn't have to worry about it again.
It shall also provide a method for calling special meetings. All meetings of the town council shall be open to the public in accordance with MRSA Title I, subsection 401 to 406.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, section B, I don't believe I had any changes for.
Only thing I would say on that one there, as we are in the digital age, actions of the council shall be posted in the town office and on town website within a reasonable time after such action has been taken.
What if social media was included too?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
I
what I
guess
had.
town website was social media, but if you left it open to that, yes.
Posted in the town office.
The words I have here scribbled is comma after time. Reasonable time, like on media currently used. And then you could cite examples like social media, web page.
So what I wrote was actions of the council shall be posted in the town office, town website, and social media outlets within a reasonable time after such actions have been taken.
Or even change it, because like a social media website is all the rage today.
Right, that's why it says
20 years
outlet,
from
so that
now.
includes
So
everything
why
within
don't,
that.
why don't we change it to like customary? You know, they'd be posted at the town council and in customary
Social media.
Well, that's
sites,
why
you
I
know,
put
like
outlets.
customary places. So whatever we're using, if everyone's on Facebook today, do it. Facebook dies in 5 years and everyone's on something else, we'll do that. It's customary.
That's why I put, if we ever do decide to
Yeah,
Instagram.
it's
Snapchat,
generic.
Yeah, it's
Haven't they
generic.
put it in the paper too,
No,
in the past?
Meetings,
no,
No,
because it's,
not the meeting.
because you pay,
Regular.
you pay for that.
it's regular meetings.
That's why that's why they just posted it at the town office.
They should have it
You
on
could
the
come in and
public.
public has a
Service
right to come in and review all.
Right.
the documents.
That I
If
understand, but
everyone
we've
had
also got,
Beeline, like in the old days, that would work out perfect.
No,
We've also got
in addition, there's still
people in
stuck
town
there.
that don't have social media
Right.
or computers.
So
Yeah,
what's
that's
defined
right.
as actions? Are we talking like all the warrants we pass? Are we talking like vehicular licenses?
All
that we
your
pass?
actions on the council. You take action, every order that you take action.
Resolves, anything you vote on.
See, that's
So
where,
this would have to be posted to the social media then.
Yes.
right, well, so do we want to do that?
Well, if
Because
you've got
that's why.
liquor
that's why I'm asking.
That
like victular license is a.
liquor
is a
license,
good
everything's
example.
gonna have to go on there. If we just leave it as posted at the town office, then you're right. People would have to come into the town office to see the actions. And where they can request.
Actions will be
It's
votes
the
by the
minute,
council.
it's the minutes of the council meeting.
But that's not stated there.
Yeah, that says actions.
It's
it doesn't say
actions.
minutes.
That's all the actions of the council.
Well, given that, you know, we have YouTube recording of the whole thing, it's posted.
But YouTube does not show you the documentation.
Correct. And
And
that's
that-
why
I
they're
think
saying
that's what-
physically
right.
have to go.
That's what you're saying is. And I don't think they do. Diana doesn't doesn't have that whole document sitting there. Unless you go get the packet at the council meeting.
When you get the agenda, you get that whole
Yeah,
package.
Right.
we get the whole pack.
Right.
So do I.
And, right, so anybody that
Yeah,
goes,
'cause
Even
when
the
you get
public.
it-
when I get it through, Diana puts out the council meeting electronically to everybody that's on her list, I'll
Right.
get that packet.
Yeah.
That whole packet.
The details.
What this is saying is your vote, when you vote on that packet, that's what's going out the next day to the public, is what you voted on, how you voted.
Right,
And
so
when you
what
get
if it
the-
read
you
in-
know, see, when you get the agenda, you're also getting minutes from the past meeting, which has all of that.
So what if it read and said actions of the council shall be posted in the town office and recordings of the recordings of the meetings will be posted to social media outlets? That way it covers all bases. Because we're doing that anyway. All of our meetings have been posted to Facebook and YouTube.
Right. And we are live during the meeting, so I mean,
So it's live, it's recorded. If somebody wants to see the actions, they can come into the town office or view the recordings online.
So how about town, comma, and social media outlets? That way,
But we wouldn't be posting every single action that we do on social media. We would have to scan every single document and then upload it to Facebook every single time.
Yeah, bad idea.
That's what I'm,
I think we should
You know what?
strike it
If
and
you-
leave it as
for-
is.
For every action that the council takes, there's somebody that's gonna be affected.
right.
But very few of them are gonna be everybody. It's not like the whole town is sitting on the edge of their chair. How am I gonna find out how this went? That's a very rare thing. It's like, I'm living in Massachusetts and I've got rents and we're talking about Airbnb and how we're gonna regulate that and stuff. I'm interested. I gotta have a place to find out. But I'm thinking, I'm gonna call the town council anyways. I'm not really interested in what social media says about it. I wanna hear from the
Yeah,
manager or from the clerk or somebody what
What
that is. So I don't think that needs to be real specific.
This is my recommended change that I just typed out. So actions of the council shall be posted in the town office and recordings will be posted to the town website and social media outlets. That way, those who are interested can see the recordings, but not the physical documents themselves unless they come here physically.
But your concern of the documents not being available, we've already have them in files. We get them in files.
We're talking about the actions that, like Rick stated, any action that we take in the meetings.
Those are in the minutes, which are part of the agenda.
I don't know how else to
The
explain it.
your actions are in the minutes.
Correct.
The minutes are, the way this was originally intended was that the minutes for that meeting, your actions as a council would be posted. Okay, within a reasonable time after such action is taken. Clerks are busy. She doesn't get the time at that moment to get the minutes documented.
Yeah, she's like back in February right now or something.
Right, so therefore she couldn't get them posted on the website or on the bulletin board. But if you come in and ask, you, as a member of the public, you have the right to inspect. I was away to Las Vegas and I just got back. I wanted to review the council's decisions on the order that was 422. I come into the town office and ask for that information.
So, but being worded in this, should it read and minutes will be posted to the town website, or do we want to
Versus
leave it as
action.
action?
The minutes,
So we do want to put minutes.
because it's just the
Instead of
minutes.
actions.
Okay, so
Because this is what this is referencing is the minutes.
I'm hearing a recommendation from you that we're striking actions, putting minutes of the council shall be posted in the town office.
That I can agree with.
Okay. So striking this,
But she still won't be. It's probably one way of addressing us having minutes that are 2 months old. You know, I've asked Peter to prioritize getting those. So that when we're in a meeting, we have the minutes from the prior meeting done.
Yeah,
And we're 2 months back now.
And that's within a reasonable time.
and yeah, because
And so, yeah, I've asked him to prioritize that, find extra help if you need to. That's what,
because
you know,
I had a concern about it.
Hiring the third person in there anyways, was to get.
it's just prioritizing it.
Right.
If he doesn't prioritize it with his people, then it doesn't get it done.
so it would now read with the changes that we made. Minutes of the council shall be posted on the town office and will be posted to the town website and social media outlets within a reasonable time after such actions have taken. Such actions have been taken or has been taken.
If it's actions, it's got to be have.
So has needs to be struck.
I like that.
Or just leave it, action
I
has
like
been
that.
taken. Such action has been
Within a
taken,
reasonable time after such action has been taken. Right.
because you're just saying the action of the
The
council.
minutes, yeah.
The minutes are the action of the council.
A record of the action of the council.
Well.
Well, the second action is referencing the
Uh-huh.
first
That's one
one.
grandma.
Just reads weird to me, I guess.
Well, that's why we changed it to minutes. Minutes of the council shall be posted in the town office.
Right, but the second action, it just sounds weird because we deleted the first one. So the second action was originally referring to the first one. And
Minutes
now it's just
are-
saying action, what action?
but the
Hey,
minutes are
just
a
put a
record-
period after time and get rid of
Minutes
the
are a
rest.
record of the action.
Minutes are a record of the
Don't think
action.
that would
of the
read better?
council.
Matt,
What?
you put a period after time and eliminate the rest.
After which part?
Time, the word
Within a
time,
reasonable time
period,
period.
then delete the rest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would read significantly better, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, it would.
That's
Yeah,
just an
good.
assumption, you know,
That's a big improvement.
Yeah, that reads better. So now it would read, section B, minutes of the council shall be posted in the town office and will be posted on the town website and social media within a reasonable time, period.
minutes. There you go. Perfect.
Okay. 209, Mr.
209.
Chairman.
Chairperson.
Chair.
We had chair instead of chairman, and it's in that paragraph several places.
Yep,
And there's one that
So we're
says the
changing-
chairman shall
the word chair,
reside,
the
and
chair.
it should mean preside.
Okay,
yes.
so hold up, the title's changing. So we need to go back all the way to the beginning and change the table of contents to say chair as well. If this title is changing, then we need to put the table of contents.
What was the table?
Table of contents, C209, chairman.
Okay.
So we would
Sure.
have, it would have to change through the entire
Right.
document.
Yeah.
So any reference to C209 needs to change.
It's for that gender neutral stuff.
All right, this is gonna take me a minute.
Yeah.
Give me just a minute.
Gotta do a search for
It took me
chairman.
a minute to
C209.
circle them all.
All right, C209, there is a total of 4 results. The first one, table of contents.
Just draw a line through the man part.
That's what I'm trying to do. It wants to highlight the entire word.
Got it. That worked out.
Okay. All right, C209. One. Did that one. All right, C209 is done. Now, when we go to sections that we're working on, we'll have to just change chairman. So the recommended changes from the previous council, I have highlighted chairman, which we did, chairman resides, he. And then the major change was highlighted regular administrative duties and the temporary absence or disability of the chairman. The town council may elect chairman pro tempore.
A chair. Pro temp,
Yeah. Okay, so one thing at a time. Council shall elect by majority vote of the intact, but one member is chairman. Is that anybody's car?
Mine's all back.
Yeah, mine's-
Mine's right here.
All right, and the purpose for the government of the military law, but they shall have no regular.
Reside instead of
Yes,
reside.
Yeah.
preside.
Come on, we'll figure it out.
Get it back up.
I'm going over the ones that were in the.
Yeah.
Okay, so what part am I changing now?
Just back up a little bit.
The second, third, fourth line, whoops,
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, chairman shall reside,
preside.
There
No,
should be a
preside.
P in front of that there.
reside.
Yeah.
Gonna make it,
One is where you live. and
Was it
one is
resides in
managing
your
the-
guys'
Yeah,
document? or
yeah.
was it-
Yes, it was.
So it needs to be.
It needs to be preside.
there you go. And then you got chairman again in that last line. 2 last lines. That's a chair.
Okay, so here's another major discussion that we've been talking about on the council level since I've been elected. About adding
Vice chair.
a vice chair. Would that be a discussion we have now? Because it's gonna have to be either a whole addition to the charter.
No, this should
And
be,
the purpose of having the statement of pro tem, that gives you, there's no really reason to have a vice chair, because all you're doing is the chairman can't be at the meeting, you elect a pro tem.
See, I said the same thing, but when me and Steve were discussing it, let's say Jesse got into a motorcycle accident, and was no longer able to do his duties, and we didn't know how long he was gonna be out. If we had a co-chair that was in there, he would immediately fill the role of chairman.
Well, pro tem does the same
Pro tem
thing.
Does the same thing.
yeah, the,
You have
So
to
there's no
begin-
other duties outside of just the council that,
You elect that person pro tem until the chairman comes back.
Yeah.
or elected a new one or whatever.
okay, I thought that
Because
was
the chair is elected by the council.
correct. This has been a discussion that's been going on for 3 years that I've talked with Steve about, I've talked with Michael Medora about. I've had several conversations with Jane about it, and then me and Jesse had started talking about it. And there was more reasons than that. Those
Yeah,
were the
but
two big
because,
ones that came up.
because of the manner in which the chair gets elected, it can happen anytime. Let's say the current chair dies.
Right,
You just go through the exercise of nominating somebody and then boom,
To
there.
replace that person.
It's not as if you gotta go through an election or need somebody already picked out ahead of time. Because, that person may fall out of favor.
right. Again, it was just a discussion I've had with 3 people on the council, so I said I'd bring it up here, and I have done so.
I mean, who could recall a chair if we didn't like them and then do another one right?
Right.
Each time.
Like I said, councilors had brought it up to me, so I said I'd bring it here. I've done so.
I think I like it the way it is so far.
Is there any other recommended changes?
I do too.
I don't see any.
I
See any
had-
209, Wally?
Administrative duties and the temporary absence or disability of the chairman of the
There
town.
was a he, she that,
Well, this whole thing you had highlighted
yeah. Okay,
and you had no notes in your email about the change, but you had. the
I
whole
don't have,
line
I don't
item.
have any scribbling on mine, so. I don't think it took whatever it was.
yeah, I had he and like he, she to they.
Right.
In this portion here.
The next to the last line. on
No,
that.
I'm talking, he had this whole, so these are all the changes of the old.
Right,
And anything that's highlighted is recommended changes. So he had
Right.
this whole thing highlighted.
where he, she in that highlighted area was.
Yeah.
Right there, that next to the last line, the second line, bottom there. In the middle, it says.
Yeah,
he, she.
the regular
That-
administrative duties
209.
highlight, I don't see any
They-
changes to that.
I already believe I did that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right there,
it
the
is there,
bottom,
yeah.
bottom
Oh,
line,
there we go.
he, she.
But what about the big highlighted part is what I'm
yeah,
talking
I don't
about.
see any changes in my notes on it,
So there was none, so that was
No.
highlighted by mistake.
right, whatever, yeah.
That was my question.
Because even Wally, who did it, says he doesn't have anything on it.
I don't, yeah, I don't.
Wait, can you go back up just 1 second? I'm a slow reader. Okay, we did change that one, okay.
Okay,
It's not
so
used
no
in the-
changes
it's
to
a
this.
Computer screen, it's some TV screens, I want.
Wow,
Yeah,
I have, the first meeting I sat over there and I couldn't see it at all. That's why at least now I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, C209, we all set?
Temporary absence of civilian
Yeah,
insurance,
there's
the
two
conversation
more,
is the
chair and
legacy.
chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he got those.
Yeah, I already got those. 210 forum. Let me pull up the second email from.
I had nothing on those.
The only thing I had was, in the 1, 2, 3, 4th line down after members, instead of a period, it was with at least 24 hours notice time. Made for a long run, and then the period after place. I wonder why that is.
Okay, so a majority of the town council shall consist of quorum for the transaction of business, but a smaller number may adjourn from time to time or may compel attendance of absent members at least 24 hours notice of the time and place of holding such adjourned meetings shall be given to all members who were not present at the meeting from which adjournment was taken.
And what I have noted here is a period after business, the first line, because it's still run on, it runs on sentences,
So in that case, but would have to be deleted.
but would be deleted and then start the next sentence, a smaller
Yeah.
number may adjourn.
Okay, so strike the comma. Add a period.
I would get rid of bot.
Yeah, working on it, give me a second. And then capitalize A.
Right.
Yep.
And so then it would read, a smaller number may adjourn from time to time or may compel attendance of absent members with at least 24-hour notice from time
Well,
and place, period.
if it was with, it would be a continuation of the sentence,
Yeah,
so you're asking to strike the period,
Yeah.
put a comma in, and make it with
And
at
put the
least.
period after place in the next line.
Okay, so we're striking that comma,
See if it reads better to you after you're done.
and we're adding with at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
With, and a comma before with,
No,
yes, because
Members, comma, with at least
okay.
24.
I told you I fun grammar.
with at least.
thought I
so
did
the
too,
A would
Louis,
change
but-
to that. Okay, so reading it, a majority of town council shall consist of quorum for a transaction of business, a smaller number may adjourn from time to time or make it compel attendance of absent members with at least 24 hours notice
Of the time.
of the
and
time
place,
and place of holding.
period. For the period after place,
Okay,
and then holding such adjourn, end of sentence.
oh, you want after place?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you wanted after holding.
Striking.
And
out.
then
And
hold it,
striking.
hold the word holding and be new. It's just to get it to read easier, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay, a majority of the town council shall consist of quorum for the transaction of business. A smaller number may adjourn from time to time or may compel attendance of absent members with at least 24 hours notice of the time and place. Holding such adjourned meetings shall be given to all members who were not present at the meeting on which adjournment was taken.
And should be after such. And holding such
Have it
an
easy.
adjourned meeting, because you're referencing their meeting they just adjourned.
All members. In that sentence I just read,
Which one?
Yep, holding such, right after holding such, put and. Because you're referencing the adjourned meeting above it.
Holding such and adjourned meeting?
holding such an adjourned meeting shall be given, yeah.
And, okay,
Something's telling me that this is wrong, but
The computer.
last sentence.
no, the way we changed it.
okay, how so?
Well, we're talking about a quorum adjourned meeting. Majority of the town council shall constitute a quorum. Majority of the town council constitute a quorum for the transaction of business,
Period.
period.
That
A
makes
smaller
sense.
number, we
Okay.
already put that in.
But a smaller number may adjourn from time to time or may compel attendance of absent members. That just does not make any.
I know, it doesn't make sense to
But
me either.
sense. That's why we got rid of the but.
Well,
We
yeah,
did.
we did, but it's something's burning in my brain.
A smaller number may adjourn.
It's not just you.
Time to time, make them so attendance of absent members.
When it doesn't make sense, I say it's legalese.
Yeah.
Legalese, I
So
love
if
it.
that's
And
the
that's what
case,
I
do we
wanna
leave
check.
it the way it was?
Should we leave the legalese?
I would leave the legalese.
I want
I
English.
want to check it. to make sure. So I'm gonna,
The computer says it's fine, but it doesn't read right.
I understand that. And,
A smaller number may adjourn from time to time or may compel attendance of absent members.
May adjourn a meeting. Does that make sense to you? That's what they're talking about.
Well, actually, you can't, because if there isn't,
if there
You
isn't
don't have a quorum,
you can't have a
you
meeting.
can't have a meeting.
So it shouldn't
Unless you
even
have
be in there. The
unless
majority
you
of
had
things-
like the committees are a committee, you can have 3 counselors on a committee, but you can't have 4.
So should it read a minority of the council will adjourn the meeting?
Wait a minute.
Are we adjourning? It takes a majority of the council to have a quorum.
Correct, for the transaction of business. So they can start the meeting, they just can't conduct business.
If there's not if there's not a quorum, they
Correct.
cannot conduct business.
Correct, but they can still start the meeting.
oh, that's a
Yeah,
good
'cause you've got-
point.
you've got
That's
a-
a good point.
You've got to call the
Because
meeting so you can
you
adjourn. it.
can adjourn a meeting without having a quorum,
We
but you
just can't
cannot,
vote.
you cannot spend $1 without
You
having. a
can't have
quorum.
any votes.
Well, you would vote to adjourn the meeting, but you can't vote on any orders.
Yes,
So a majority of the town council shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. If a minority of the how would that read? A minority of the council is present at such time of meeting, they must adjourn the meeting or cannot conduct business.
Well, that's a smaller number may adjourn, saying the same thing we
Because-
just said.
Just the way it's read right now is terrible.
Well, let me, may compel the attendance of absent members. In other words, Louis, no, you're gonna be there.
well, and
That's what they're saying,
There
24
have been
hours.
counselors who stopped coming to meetings.
Right.
It's a rare thing because most people are into it, but there have been counselors who just quit showing up for blocks of meetings where everyone else was saying, geez, are we gonna do something?
And this
about
says under what condition you can tell them 24-hour
Right.
notice.
Yes, that's where the.
And
24 hours
that,
comes
I
into
guess
play.
that's why it's something, just talking it out, it makes more sense, transition of business.
Oh, a smaller number than the quorum is what it's saying
Yeah,
from time to time,
Or why does it say from time to time?
may adjourn from time to time. You know,
May adjourn from the time that you say adjourn.
well, we could get rid of that from time to time. Could be taken right out of there. A
I-
smaller number may adjourn or may compel attendance of absent members with at least 24 hours notice.
Right,
Yeah, but
like,
yeah.
like where you've got to pay the warrants, like. You've
From
got to
time
do
to time.
bi-weekly. That way you can say, okay, we didn't have a quorum to be able to conduct that business. So we say, okay, we're gonna have to hold within 24 hour, well, give 24 hours notice instead of having it the second and fourth Tuesday. Because you've got to pay those bills, you've got to do it.
Yeah,
Like on the
it's a
third,
It becomes a
or-
special meeting. You compel the members to come.
correct.
But from time to time, I think is,
It's not
No,
necessary.
well,
much.
try this then. Okay, town, Millinocket winds up getting $1 million grant or something. Only we have to sign for it right now. It's got a, there's a.
Yeah,
Special meeting.
it's a-
that's a special meeting
That's
situation.
right.
Would it be? It's an
But we call the
emergency.
meeting and not enough people show up to do it. So from time to time, we say from this time, 4 o'clock until 5 o'clock tomorrow,
There'll be an emergency
that
meeting.
we will reconvene. We're adjourning, we will reconvene. That gives us 25, 26 hours. Get it in the book right now and get on the phone and call those people and get them in here to vote for this and sign for this.
So a majority of the town council shall constitute a quorum for transaction of business. A smaller number may adjourn or may compel attendance of absent members with at least 24-hour notice of the time and place.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it reads better without the from time.
Me too, really.
Yeah.
It makes more sense. to me.
It does. Now I understand it. Is there any other changes?
Does that take care of you, Dick?
Now I'm going to the tail end of it here. Just give me a second.
Yeah. Holding such adjourned meeting.
Yeah, that's fine.
A majority of the town council shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. A smaller number may adjourn or may compel attendance of absent members with at least 24-hour notice of time and place. Holding such an adjourned meeting shall be given to all members who were not present at the meeting from which adjournment was taken.
Now they. Okay, I'm sorry. But
What, I'm not sure
adjourned
about-
meeting. In other words, you're saying is, okay, there was only 3 members. So they
Adjourned.
adjourned the meeting
Right.
because there wasn't enough,
No
there
quorum.
wasn't a quorum.
That's right.
Meeting was started.
Yeah.
Without a quorum.
And no business can happen.
No business can happen.
So they adjourn.
Start it
So then
and
they
end
have-
it.
they have, right. So
And
they
we've
still
done
have-
that right here.
Right.
In this committee, we've done that.
So has that ever happened in either one of your histories that you've had to compel
On the
members?
town
to be-
council? No.
No.
Out of the council
Not that I
level.
know of. For the 6 years that I was on it, no. And even for the time.
There's always been a quorum.
Yeah.
And I've been 8 years
I never
now.
saw one either.
I think a couple of times we didn't have a quorum, but we got on the phone and said,
Get your ass
Matt,
down.
you coming to the meeting? Oh, yeah, I'm on the road. I'm almost there. No, we'll wait for you. No, so it made it push the meeting out. 20 minutes or so, but
So it's kind of happened, but kind of not.
Yeah. Yeah, the meeting occurred.
I don't understand the sentence. Holding such an adjourned meeting shall be given to all members who were not present at the meeting.
Well.
What does
it's
that
what-
mean?
It
So
means
maybe you can put notice
hold it.
of holding such an adjourned meeting. Would make it sound better.
Yeah, because you're,
Well, how it originally read was with at least 24 hours notice of time and place of holding of such an adjourned meeting.
yeah,
So having the upholding would make more sense now that we've gotten rid of from time to time.
it's referring to.
Yeah, yeah.
It's referring to
a meeting that you took.
rescheduling is what it
That took
is.
place, but yet nothing was done. So are you holding the meeting? In other words, you can adjourn, you can go into recess until you have a quorum. Then the meeting is still an active meeting. But if you adjourn, 3 members can adjourn because there wasn't a full council.
Could read holding,
It should read at least 24-hour notice of time and place of holding such an adjourned meeting. So the original way should have been, now that we've gotten rid from time to time, the original way makes sense. So it should read 24-hour notice of time and place of holding such an adjourned meeting.
Yes, strike what we were gonna change.
So strike or strike.
Right.
Yeah.
instead of shall, we should be using the word will. Oh, we decided that a while back.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, I thought we shall.
And that's
So
when
we
it's holding.
decided
such
that whenever we
adjourned
saw the
meeting
word
shall.
shall, we would change it to will.
Okay, hold on. Oh, majority of the time, but in this one.
Do a word search on shall.
I thought we were changing wills to shall, or was it
No.
vice versa? I'm sorry.
Shall.
We don't do this like often enough for me to remember all that.
Originally,
See if I had it in my notes.
we were changing it will. It shall gives you.
Okay, you know what? Hold on.
So gives you
Will.
some leeway, right? Shall do that. Well, I won't.
Oh, they
No,
kept. it
Charlie
in.
always liked shall because it was like,
Legally.
Shall is, you don't have to, but it's, will is absolute. Shall
That's
is-
what I think.
Right.
yeah,
But we should look up the words with it.
No, I didn't write it down.
Okay, you
If
want
you
to
read a notion document, you shall means you will do it.
Emotion, yeah.
You can.
expressing the future tense or expressing inevitable events is will.
And what shall.
okay, what is shall?
You will do it.
In the first person expressing the future tense or expressing a strong assertion or
Wrong
intention.
assertion.
So
Same thing, expressing a strong assertion.
So it's which one reads better? Is that the point we're at?
Yeah.
I'd say leave shall in there.
We're gonna go back and change what we said before.
Well, that's what I'm trying to go back. Council will set. We've been using will.
We want that.
Shall means you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will
Means
means
you will.
you
Shall.
might.
Well, that's not how it
No,
reads.
will,
No,
no, we
no.
just read that differently.
Will means you will. They mean the same thing.
Will, expressing the future tense or expressing inevitable events. It is going to happen.
It's going to happen.
Shall is saying a strong assertion that it's going to happen. It's not saying it will, but it's very likely.
And we want,
Will.
definitely want will. We want some will, some fortitude in here.
Okay, back to CO9. Or C10, sorry. So we're changing shall to will.
And I'm sure we missed some here along the way.
We have, I'm going
I was
back
going through,
right through red. Blue. Will preside at the meeting. The council shall be posted at minutes of the council.
Right through.
so everywhere there is a shall, it should.
Shall be a will.
Because even the first sentence, majority of the town council
Shall.
will. If you're changing every shall to
That's
will,
right, yeah, that's right. Consistency is important.
I feel like we've had this discussion.
We'll come back and.
I think, and I see-
Change them all back. That's all I-
You'll say because you can't be certain it will happen. So, you know, it's meant to, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. That's what you're gonna say.
Oh, my lord.
Yeah, you're opening yourself up to litigation if you don't do it when you say will do it. And shall, you mean will.
and you might be opening yourself to litigation, even if you do it.
No matter what you do, you're opening.
You have a lawyer in the room.
Uh,
Yeah. How true is that? You can make a case on nothing.
Good news, counselors are all insured.
Yeah, we're bonded, that's right.
Makes me
No, a friend of mine, in fact, this could help you guys. A friend of mine told me one time, Mark Illingworth, president of Doll Chase Associates. And I'd had a few people come up to me and they were gonna sue the town if we didn't do this, and it went on and on. Mark laughed. He said, I like it when people say that to me because that means the conversation's over. If someone threatens to sue me, if we're not talking about it anymore, have your people call my people. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, that's
And
the brakes on.
Man, I use that and that worked great. That works great. If you ever get some guy that just hammering on you about taking you to court, end of conversation. We're done.
Back in the eighties, the real problem with nonprofits getting bonding for their board of directors. And a vast majority of the nonprofit members were defecting, because, don't have bonding insurance. Hey, I'm not gonna lose my protection for the decisions I made on that board.
Yeah.
This is gonna take a while. I'm gonna have to go back and do, this is gonna take me like an hour to go back.
So what I did, I went to my house insurance and increased my personal liability coverage to $1 million.
Oh,
We're
really?
gonna be going back and
Didn't
reading
cost
it
that
anyway.
much.
So if I
And
miss.
I'm not worried about it. I got an insurance company to do it.
So C211.
It's an umbrella you can get.
Yep, one second. One more. There's a dozen. I mean, there's
Oh,
like
yeah,
an
there's-
ungodly amount. I'm gonna have to go back and change everything we changed in the last couple of meetings.
Okay, then moving along to C.
211.
11.
I don't see any.
Oh, how did we wrap up?
So just to confirm, two tenants
can,
done, you guys are okay with it? Oh, no. hold
Oh,
on,
there's a
there's another-
shall.
Yeah, I know, I see it now.
Nice try.
Right.
Into 11's got a show.
I'll get there in a second. Give me a minute.
But actually,
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I like it.
211 of a seat in the council. All right, recommended changes from the previous committee,
None.
read none. I have nothing until C219.
The town council shall.
Well, the
In
seat,
fact, there's a couple
if a
of,
seat of the town council becomes vacant more than 6 months prior to the next council.
Yeah, we
regular
just
council
went
meeting,
through
the
that.
Which we
vacancy
just went
shall
through.
be- You need to leave that wiggle room because it shall be filled it doesn't say if it's prior to 6 months, you have to. But if it's less than 6 months, you do not have to fill that position.
yes.
So therefore, the shall would be more applicable in this situation.
If a seat in the council becomes vacant more than 6 months prior to the next regular town election, the vacancy shall be filled for the unexpired term within 60 days. No, it would have to be.
It
Will.
it
That's
would
it,
have to
will.
be, it has to be done because it's 6 months or more.
Yeah. And then 60 days.
Which is why we had to do it.
So many wills
Will the public,
will be filled for the unexpired term within 60 days from the date that the vacancy occurred by a special election, the warrant for which shall upon vote, well,
Will upon
Which
vote
will
of the
upon
town
vote.
council.
should there be a comma after that?
There is a comment.
There is a
I know,
comma.
should there, I'm asking
Upon
if
the
there,
vote of the
if there should
council.
be.
In my
reissued.
opinion.
Can you,
Yeah.
can you
Shall,
paint that
you have to
shall,
have a
will, and just go through and hit that?
Like
Oh, mass
replace
change.
everything.
Yeah.
There's a way to do it, but I have my code book at home for Excel, for Word, so I'm gonna have to go and find it and then
Well, I thought that brush, you brush over that and then hit
talking about.
on the, right up in the upper, left-hand corner where paste is, isn't there a brush? Maybe I'm not seeing that.
Okay, replace shall with,
With will.
and then replace all.
Well,
Or
you
I
can
guess
do that,
shall
but
will
it won't flag it, will it?
You gotta.
Well, let's find
You
out.
got shall will
Actually,
in
well,
there.
you better change the shall will.
785
And
replacements.
you have, you can do an undo, you can do an undo. Go ahead and try it.
Well, actually, before you do that,
I already did it.
Right.
you replace it with shall will. not
Yeah.
Will.
I know, because I'm gonna have to go and highlight everything. So if I
Exactly.
don't do that, I'm gonna have, I'll never
Okay.
know what we changed.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's why I was wondering, sometimes if you,
So now it will be easier for me to go back and go, all right, we already changed this, delete this.
Yeah.
Instead of having to figure out what we've done and what we haven't done.
There you go.
And it's highlighted for me already.
on.
So yeah, that's gonna save me a bunch of time.
On my program, like I make song sheets, but I put some chords over the top of it.
Yep.
So if I go through, I paint it and I just go through and hit copy at that point and it puts in, it takes out what I highlighted and puts in what I wanted.
But I can't take out that portion because it's.
Yeah, we have to leave it there to
I
show
have
it
to
changed.
leave it to
No,
show
but
change.
what I'm saying is, you find one that you did
Right,
with the like shall crossed out in red and then
That's
will
what I
in
did.
blue. And paint over it and it will do that.
that's what I did, but because we've already made so many changes, it's
Okay.
gonna go back and add it to the changes I already made,
Yeah, so you're gonna have to go review the changes you made.
which is fine. That.
Also less than 700.
It's still less than 800, yes, but it's definitely a lot easier.
And it'll be easy to see too.
Yeah, we don't have to catch them now. It's already been caught.
Well, I'll have to go back.
Well, not so many pages
Oh,
anyway.
we're all sorry that it's you, but we're happy. It's
No,
you.
you're not.
You know, it's this
And it's
love
gonna
and
be
hate kind
my
of thing.
bet. You're gonna go back and
Yeah.
change them all, cause the attorney's gonna say it has to say
I
shall.
swear to God.
I get that gut feeling.
I swear to God, I will not be happy.
You have to keep those attorneys employed, Matt.
Yeah,
I don't have to employ them. All right, anyway, moving on. And we're gonna be reading this again before we send it away anyway.
Yeah.
So that second reading, I'll be able to,
Just read
make
it.
those small modifications, yep. All right, so was there anything else for 211? C212, I had no recommended changes. The
No.
town council,
Just to show wills.
get the shell out.
there's a bunch of shells in here, so give me just a minute.
Yep.
Oh, it didn't do the colors for you?
It won't, but I'll notice it when I go to read it. I'm gonna go,
Yeah,
that doesn't
they're
make no
easy to
sense.
find that way.
Yeah.
Pretty flag.
And also what I can do now is I can go to search and type in shall will, and it's gonna pull everything up for me at once, so I can be able to change it that way too.
Yeah.
So regardless, this will make my life a whole lot easier.
When you do that, the shall will bring up all the ones you fixed too.
Correct, which is still okay, because I can double check them.
It'll be all 800 again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're so good at this.
Yeah, well, I used to be better at it.
He comes to my house often to fix my computer.
I get a glitch. I got a glitch.
Yeah, what does this mean?
All right, anything else? Was there any other major changes or just grammatical?
No, there was nothing in that there. Moving on. Unless somebody wants to change something.
I didn't see.
Okay, the council will provide for keeping a record of its proceedings and will determine its own rules of procedure and make lawful regulations for enforcing the same. Council will act only by ordinance, order, or resolve. All ordinances, orders, and resolves, except orders or resolves making appropriations of money, will be confined to one subject, which will be clearly expressed in the title. All appropriation orders or resolves will be confined to control act of appropriation. So I like it with will way better. It's basically saying it's going to happen.
That's what I like.
It's more
Lawyer.
demand. It's more demanding.
I'm lawyers.
Should or shall?
Sure, shall will.
OSHA, should or shall?
Okay. C213.
The only change
Okay,
was the
and it
two.
has at least one public hearing, should be at least two public hearings. right?
Yeah. That I
The
have.
first line,
At least one public hearing.
shouldn't that be at least two public hearings?
It should be.
Aren't there,
No,
We've
no.
always had two public hearings when we do an ordinance change.
is that just discretion of the council
I
or?
think, I think.
A zoning
one-
ordinance, planning board.
Right, the planning board and. Well, the planning board
Budget.
had, and this is the question mark here, adoption of an ordinance. This is, I'm referencing this as the town council. Because you have a planning board, it goes for public scrutiny
Yeah,
in the planning board process. Then you bring it to the planning board brings it to the council for a decision. They have a public hearing on that ordinance change. So does it need to be one or can it be two?
Well, technically,
second-
planning board's been talking about it.
Right, that essentially is the first one.
Correct.
So it should stay one.
Council needs to have
practice,
one public.
But the
hearing.
second line of this says, hearings shall be held by the council.
yeah.
Right,
practice has
Oh.
been two.
right.
Well, no,
The
no,
charter says
so
it
what they're
only
saying,
needs
so
one.
when it goes to
At
like the
least
planning
one,
board,
two is more
the
than.
planning board talking about it is a public hearing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this is referencing the council,
Correct.
and the council only has to have one.
And that's
No.
my point. If
At
the
least one,
council has-
We could get by, but practice has been two.
That's
And
just,
hearings,
that's just.
and
what
hearings
we've been
have to
done.
be advertised in the paper.
Right, then we
And
ran
that's
into
in
that
here.
with the planning board one.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
So-
which will be given at least 7 days in
days.
advance by publication in the newspaper.
yeah.
Which I have a recommended change for that in just a minute, but so are we
So the-
fine with one? Do we want to?
at least one. I mean, we have two, it's been practiced as long as I've been around. You know, at
I
least
think-
one means
I
at
think
least one,
two is good democracy.
at least two then,
I like to
Yes.
personally,
at
but
least two, me too.
Because if you couldn't make the first one, you can make the second.
And thinking again, 20 years down the line, you know, somebody decides they want to do something for their self or their cousin and an ordinance gets kind of hustled through more than it
In
should.
one
This,
meeting and then nobody was there.
another meeting does not hurt the process at all.
No,
If
I
you
don't
have
think so.
two, you know,
okay, so.
At least
like
two.
ordinance
yeah.
Be passed
exactly.
at
It's more
least
transparent.
2 public hearings.
Hearings.
Have another shall will.
be held by the-
And I had the insertion of a comma after newspaper after that.
Well, I have a recommended change anyway, so that may
Take
fix
care of
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah, so we've been posting the publications for hearings on our website anyway and on social media outlets. So do we want to make that a thing where we continuously do it in the future like we did with consistency?
Newspaper plus social
Yes.
media.
So publication in a newspaper. Because there used to be more than one newspaper.
Well, but that's where,
Well, it's a paper that has to have circulation and no.
right,
Right.
right, and that's where, so putting it on social media doesn't necessarily reach all the masses.
Yeah.
By advertising it in the paper. If I don't have a computer, I'm a paper person, I get my paper every week, I read it. That's where I'm gonna get that notification, so you really still.
But adding social media is not gonna hurt.
No, it's not gonna hurt it to add it.
Right,
but
you just
we
can't
have
take
to-
it away.
We have to
Is
keep.
that what
the
you was
paper.
referencing, Matt, adding it?
So, publication in a newspaper having a circulation in said town, comma, posted on the town website, comma, posted on town social media outlets, comma, and in a public place.
And that's what the bulletin board out there in front of the.
Correct.
building is the public place.
So there would be an addition of a comma here. Notice a publication in a newspaper having circulation in town. Posted on the town's website. posted on the town's social media outlets.
Yeah.
And by posting a notice in a public place. So basically, we're just increasing the amount of distribution we're doing. Which doesn't cost any money, because we already have it, and it's free.
Yeah, and we should be doing it. I'm not sure we should be including it in the,
If I had my way, you'd be putting a public service channel up there with every closed listing.
We had a conversation about that a while ago about doing a local thing. That's a discussion for another day. I'll talk to you about it
Public
after.
service channel?
No, so yes and no, but doing it ourselves instead of having Cat TV, doing it internally and having a room. I'll talk about it with you after.
There's no contract with Cat TV.
No.
That's crazy, giving them $5,000 a year for.
And I'm not happy
Word of
about that
mouth.
to begin with. Back to that word of mouth handshake deal.
The
Yeah,
yeas and
exactly.
nays.
I brought it up 3, 4, 5 years in a row.
And you brought it up like
Who's
5
getting
times.
the
this
money?
year.
Yeah, 5 times.
It's
Well,
the
it's a
transition.
it's a pass through.
Supposed to
It's
be
always
line.
been just a pass through.
Yeah, they justify what they're doing by saying it's not tax dollars, it's money from Beeline or a Spectrum. But that contract with them states that money comes to the town or us to manage a public service channel.
So in
And that goes right
theoretics,
to,
And yeah,
Point
on
of
a
order.
handshake, it goes right to Cat TV.
Order.
Has been that way for ever since they started.
goes into the budget, goes through the budget to Cat TV. Basically.
That's because I can't raise the ire of counselors enough to change it.
do they
Circling
still do
back
stuff
to
on
the
Cat
charter.
TV?
Oh, yeah, it's fiddle here and there.
so posted on the town's website, posted on the town's social media outlets, and by posting a notice in a public place. Is there anything else changed in this section, or was
The
that?
yeas and
That's good.
nays will be taken.
Already got that one. Be taken on the passage of all ordinances and entered on the record of the proceedings of the council by the clerk. Every ordinance will require on passage the affirmative vote of a majority of members of the council. Such ordinance will be effective 30 days after such passage, subject to the
Damn,
provisions of
15 minutes
Article
goes by
9.
fast.
Yeah.
Mhm.
C214 town clerk.
Do we want to put in? Just hear me out. Subject, such ordinance shall be effective 30 days after such passage. And in some cases, the council has passed it and asked for it to be effective immediately. Should we have something in there to allow council the latitude to
So,
make it effective?
At least, put the word at least. somewhere.
so will be effective
No.
30 days after such
Unless
passage.
changed by council vote
Yeah, that's more like,
So should it read
after
after such
passage,
passage?
unless changed by council vote.
What about the Article 9? Should that read
That's-
before?
I'd leave that in. I don't know.
No, what I'm saying is, should it be before or after, unless changed by public vote? What
Oh,
is
it should be
Article-
after.
Right,
Should
that's,
be after.
so the period needs to go the other way, and then it would be unless changed by council majority.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So will be effective 30 days after such passage, subject to the provisions of Article 9, unless changed by council majority vote.
Subject to the provisions of Article.
So you're saying subject to provision should be after, not before? That was what I asked.
Right, passage unless changed by the council, by majority of the council, subject to the provisions of Article 9.
Yeah.
Okay. C214, the town clerk will act as a clerk of the council and they,
No, actually, just that gone. The
Oh,
town
yeah,
clerk
yeah.
shall keep a public record of all proceedings. Doesn't need a he, she, or they in there.
and shall keep.
Or will.
Needs to go. And so does it shall.
yeah, that's what we had eliminated.
Okay, the town clerk will act as a clerk of the council and keep a public record of all proceedings of the council, including all roll call votes. All right,
I like that.
C215, prior to the end of the fiscal year, the council will designate the State Department of Audit or private certified public accountants who, as of the fiscal year, will make an independent audit of the accounts and other evidence of the financial transactions of the town government and will submit the report to the council and the town manager. Such accountants will not maintain any account or records of the town business, but will post audit the books and documents kept by the Department of Finance and any separate or subordinate accounts kept by any other office, departments, or agency of the town government.
Straightforward on that one.
didn't change anything there.
Other than shall and will.
Yeah.
C216, appointment of the town manager. The council will appoint an officer of the town who will have the title of town manager and will have the powers and perform the duties in the charter provided. No counselor
Yeah,
will
We
receive.
have an issue with this one.
What?
C216,
Yeah, I'm reading right now.
we have an issue with this.
Okay.
When we went through the debacle of Manager Davis and police chief, we ended up having maybe twice a council chair step in to run the duties of the manager for until we could get an interim in there.
That is. The charter was very clear, and I feel that's where the council made a mistake. Is the council should have taken that charter and they should have found somebody to be an interim manager for that period immediately,
Plus they tried.
not wait. I mean, you,
Because when we spoke with MMA, didn't they say that they didn't have anybody?
It was impossible for us to get somebody to jump in time to continue what had to be done. And the closest person that we knew of that could step in, that, you know, the warrants and the routine.
Was the chairman at the time.
Yeah, because
I wasn't on the council at that time. I was told that MMA told us no
you
go.
could have taken anybody,
off the street, yeah,
no, right, you could have.
with no,
You could have
with no,
taken anybody in the town
with
office.
no experience of how the town office runs.
But I'm saying you could have taken somebody within the town office. Lori Santia could have
Will have
been
the powers.
the
and duties
interim town
of the
manager.
Counselor will,
as the HR person, she would have been the perfect person to fit into that
for which
Well-
he will.
for the time it took you to get a new chairman, and a new manager. That person could have filled in.
Actually, it's a violation of the charter.
Maybe
Right.
maybe we should be naming a succession line for that issue.
There are towns that are moving to that, like an assistant manager in town. I know
Right.
that, but then we're talking about spending more tax dollars to create another
Correct.
appointment and then making another huge addition to
No.
the charter and how
I
we
mean,
want to make that.
You could have
section
taken Diana and made her the interim town manager. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you
it just shows you that there is people in the building.
can do a cross training type thing.
you know,
Companies do it all the
It-
time.
it's weird because we actually hit this, it actually happened.
Yeah.
And it may happen again, but it might be something as simple as putting in,
Treasurer.
manager pro temp or something like that just to cover a short berth. What happened with you was,
Until the interim.
Well, we had that.
it was like the most extreme case that you could have. It's like not being able to find anybody and.
But I get where they're coming from. So before we could get Dr. Padilla in, for example, I wasn't on the council at the time, but they had to have the chairman step in. I use quotes very strongly. They had to have someone step in because by the time they had a council meeting, had an executive session to talk all about this, warrants needed to be passed. Business needed to be taken care of. Who was gonna do it?
Yeah,
You know, that's the point we're at right now. Do we want to?
That should have,
Designate
you're right,
some-
that should have gone to the
But-
treasurer.
But the warrants you have to have 3 or 4 signatures to pass it. Normally, the manager is one of the signatures. And you have to have at least 3
Well, I know
councils.
why the treasurer couldn't be
Why?
conflict of interest. She's preparing all the bills and then she'd be approving them.
That is a conflict of interest.
So the HR person who
Which
does
is-
not, or the clerk does not, or the code officer, or the public works director, or you see that there are people in the town,
Management position.
in the positions that could fill in that position.
who is
Yeah, 'cause
viewed
it's-
as like the manager's number 2 person?
Oh, that's an opinion right now.
'Cause I mean, if you go
Depends
back
on
to
how
the
you-
chairman,
If you
Falling
would have
back on
asked me 3 or 4 years ago, I would have said the town clerk. In the capacity that I sit right now, I am not comfortable saying who would be second. And I'm not in this session going to talk about who I think is second.
I'll give you an example. When I was chair of the council and Peggy, and she was talking about leaving, and we said, who are we gonna get? I said, Mike Noble's code officer. He's the most knowledgeable right now that we have of the governing process. Why not just put him in that role as a
Pro tem.
interim? That was stated within the group. You might have to adjust his salary to compensate him for that added role, but yet you could have done that. It ended up Peggy stayed until we found somebody. We found John Davis at the time, so therefore that took care of it. But we were looking internally for somebody to take that spot as an interim. So that's all I'm
Yeah.
saying is, when you look at this, the way that charter read right there, the council made a mistake in their governing process.
Big mistake. And I agree, it needs to be changed, and it needs to be outlined here. It's very clearly stated that no counselor will be town manager.
Correct.
In their term. So my question is if we're going to fall that duty onto somebody else, which you make a good point, by the way, you know, there's a town in southern Maine that had their manager that quit, left immediately, and they needed somebody, and MMA couldn't provide somebody. Similar to the code enforcement, they had somebody who was kind of already learning the ropes that they pushed into that position, and they were willing to do it until they were actually, you know, they took their oath, did everything accordingly. But my concern is do we want to automatically throw that onto somebody right now, or should we wait until the manager is present and say, okay, in your absence, or if you drop dead tomorrow, who would take your seat? I feel like this is a discussion we should be having with the manager to find out who should fill his seat if something were to happen.
And
so why don't
I don't feel like
why
we-
don't we table it so he can be
Well, this is a
present with us?
breaking point anyway, we're.
Yeah, yeah.
But this is a statement that covers. It protects the town, a counselor, not that, I'm not gonna say that a counselor would ever do this, okay? But let's just say that Counselor Richard Angotti is the chairman of the council and the manager quits. They say, we don't have anybody, you're gonna be it. Council gives him approval to do. He says, oh, okay, I get to sign my own, okay, I can. It's not transparent now.
Yeah, no, that's right, that's right.
Being your own boss.
And it never starts out being a bad thing, but it can wind up that way, you know, pretty soon you're, well, I need to tank of gas, I'll just take it from here and
Or
just because it's simpler and pretty soon.
my buddy's in this contractor and we gotta have this contract. look, I'll take care of it.
Yeah,
Now you are in hot water.
I get my cousin, he'll do it.
Exactly.
I motion we table C216 until the next meeting.
Yeah,
Second,
or just move to start there, good, good.
Or just start right there when we come back,
Yeah.
because we're already at.
Start at 6:15 next time,
When's the next meeting?
7. June 7th.
June 7th?
I will be participating from Zoom as I will be in New York. So I will not be here.
See?
No, I will never go to New York City. You will never catch me.
We're in New York.
Cornell. Wife's family. We're 1,400 miles away. I'll be-
But maybe in winter.
So, my motion, we adjourn.
I gotta tell you, first, the next meeting is Wednesday. June 7th. 4:30.
You just told us.
Just wanted to finish my agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. Get a motion, any second?
Second,
All in favor?
all right,
You opposed or?
Or all three?
yeah, we still taping?
Yeah,
I was trying to,
self-recording.
which one I got.
As soon as the video is posted on
Short
YouTube, I
stop.
swear I will try to get the